Hello, ladies and gents. Today we'll be looking at argumentative essays, the introduction. Now, last class we looked at, or we were introduced to, essay writing and the types of essays. Today we're looking at one type of essay, which is the argumentative essay. But in today's lesson, we will only be focusing on the introduction. By the end of this unit, you will identify parts of an introduction, define attention grabber, define short information, identify a pro and con chart, define thesis statement, and write an introduction for an argumentative essay. Now you can have a look at our learning map, but we'll head straight into our reflective activity. Now, essentially, when we're putting together argumentative essays, we're technically doing a this or that, and we're coming up with reasons and points on whether we like this or that. So let's consider a few topics on the screen. Coffee or tea? Do you like sweet snacks or salty snacks? Do you like reading a book or watching a movie? Or do you like hot weather or cold weather? When you consider these questions, which ones did you lean towards? And why did you lean towards that particular answer? So if you have your reasons, you can go ahead and jot that down in your exercise book. Now let's get started. What is an argumentative essay? Now, the definition of an argumentative essay is essentially in the name itself, right? It involves taking a clear position on a topic and using evidence to convince others to agree with your point of view. So you are presenting an argument, you are presenting a position, and then trying to convince others on why this position is correct. The parts of an argumentative essay is the same as a regular essay. So you have your introduction, your body, and your conclusion. Now, what might be new or surprising to you is that in the body, you will actually have to do what we call a demolisher or counterclaim, where you consider the part or the point of the opposing side, the side that you did not choose, and present an argument for it, but also say why this argument may not make sense. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, so let's jump back into the lesson. For our lesson today, we will be looking at the topic, should plastics be banned? So this is a topic I will use to give examples on how you should write certain items or certain parts in your essay. So remember, I said we were focusing on the introductory paragraph. The introduction is the first part of the essay. It has 3 parts. So we have the attention grabber, we have the short information, we have the thesis, which includes the 2 points. Now, throughout this lesson, you'll see me refer to the thesis as 2 sentences, but it is 1 sentence. It's just that sometimes I like to remind the students that they should include the 2 points in their essay, and this is the best in their introduction, and that's the best way to do it. We will begin with the attention grabber. And the attention grabber does exactly what the word suggests. It is supposed to grab the attention of the reader, right? It's supposed to make the reader want to know more about the essay or read more about your essay. Some examples of attention grabbers are interesting questions, a fact or statistic, a metaphor or simile, a story, also called an anecdote when it comes to essay writing, a description, a quotation. So using the topic, Should plastics be banned? I've put together some examples of attention grabbers for you, and we'll just look at a couple. So if you were to choose the question, you can ask, should the use of plastics be banned globally? So you can use the topic to make your attention grabber. Let's look at simile. Plastic waste piles up like mountains of poison, suffocating the environment. Or we could use an anecdote or a story. Example, when Sarah visited her local beach for the first time in years, she was heartbroken. The once pristine shore was littered with plastic bottles, bags, and wrappers, turning the golden sands into a sea of trash. So you have 7, and there are more, but you have 7 examples of how you can begin your argumentative essay. The next part of your introduction is the short information. This gives the reader the information they need to understand the topic. And this is supposed to be a bridge between the attention grabber and the thesis statement. So your short information must be related to the topic and it must make sense. So your short information could be a fact or it could be a definition. So let's say we might want to define plastics from the topic that I just gave you. Then for your short information, it could be that you put a definition of plastics there. Okay, so let's do this activity. Label the example. So I have an example of part of an introduction, and we're going to see if we can identify the following. Can we identify the attention grabber, and can we identify the short information? Okay, so here we go. Should plastics be banned? That's our topic. Overflowing landfills and polluted oceans show how plastics have taken over our environment. Plastics are widely used for their convenience, but they take hundreds of years to decompose, harming wildlife and ecosystems. So you can pause the video here and see if you can identify which is the attention grabber and which is the short information. Okay, if you said the pink is the attention grabber and the words in green is the short information, then you are correct. Let's move on. Your turn. So using what we have just gone through, the attention grabber and the short information, you are going to start your essay. And here is the topic. Should companies provide paid paternity leave? So you're going to pause the video and write your attention grabber and short information on your exercise book. Now, it would help if you do not know what paternity leave is to go ahead and do some research and see and familiarize yourself with the term. Now, please do not confuse maternity leave with paternity leave. We are doing paternity leave. All right, let's continue. And remember, you can pause the video and do the activity and unpause to continue the lesson. Now, when you are doing an argumentative essay, it's important to do a pro and con chart. So a pro and con list is a decision-making method. Pros are listed as arguments in favor of a particular decision, and cons are arguments against. So we have an example here. We have a pro for banning plastics, which means that on this side you're going to have a why we should ban plastics. And then on the con side, you're going to say why we shouldn't ban plastics. So this is what you'll want to create for your topic before you head into your thesis statement and your 2 points. Because in your thesis statement and your 2 points, in your thesis statement, you're going to need those 2 points. And just because you might have decided which side you're going to choose, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't find points for the other side. It's important that you do points for both sides before deciding which side you're going to choose. So the thesis statement. A thesis statement is a complete sentence that contains one main idea. It tells the reader what you're going to talk about in your essay. It consists of the topic, your stance, and your points. This is an argumentative essay. So you must say what your stance is. Our topic is plastics should be banned, or I should say, should plastics be banned? That is the question. In your essay, if you have said, you know what, yes, plastics should be banned, then in your thesis statement, it should clearly show that this student has chosen a side. Yes, plastics should be banned. Yes, plastics should be banned, because X and Y. A thesis statement also contains reasons which helps a reader know how the essay will be organized. The points are the final things in the introduction. So when you're writing your thesis, when you're writing your introduction, the 2 points or your 2 points that you have brainstormed, that should be the final thing in your introduction. So we move on. We want to craft a strong thesis statement. How do we do that? Our topic is, should plastics be banned? And 2 reasons that we could have come up with is, plastics harm the environment by polluting the land and oceans. That's one. And our second point, plastics threaten wildlife and take hundreds of years to break down. So our thesis is going to depend on these things that you have seen here: your topic, your stance, and your points. So here are 2 examples of a thesis statement. Because remember, I told you in our last lesson that your thesis statement can be 2 sentences or 1. It depends on whichever you are comfortable with. So here's the first one. Plastics should be banned. From this, I can clearly see what the student's stance is. This student believes that plastics should be banned. And then we go on to see, they pollute the environment and endanger wildlife. So you keep your points simple in the introduction. Or you could join these 2 sentences together using a conjunction and say, plastics should be banned because they pollute the environment and endanger wildlife. So you decide which way you are comfortable with, but be sure to have the topic, plastics should be banned, your stance, and the 2 points. Wonderful. Let's move on. Here's our next activity. Can you identify the thesis statement? You can pause the video here to think about it. If you said that the words in red were the thesis statement, then you are correct. Good job. Your turn. Using the topic, should companies provide paid paternal leave? You're going to write your thesis statement. Remember to follow the example I gave you here. Write down your topics. Do your pro-con chart to see which side you're going to select. Select 2 reasons and then create your thesis statement based off of everything that you have done. Okay, so let us review. There are dash parts of an introduction. There are 3 parts: the attention grabber, the short information, and the thesis statement. So we just answered 2, 3, and 4. The dash tells the reader what you're going to talk about in your essay. The thesis statement. The thesis statement has a big job, okay? It's the foundation of your essay. Without the thesis statement, you do not have an essay. So be sure to go back and work on creating your essay, your thesis statement. 6. The thesis statement can be broken down into dash sentences. Can be broken down into 2 sentences. Okay, so that is it for today. I appreciate your attention to this lesson. Be sure to complete your introduction and then move on to your homework assignment. See you in the next lesson.